Eli Campbell here. One thing that makes Steamboat special is how many awe-inspiring people call our valley home. You could find yourself in line at the coffee shop next to an Olympian, or sitting on the gondola next to the founder of a world-renowned business. Our community produces and attracts the best of the best in their respective fields, but most are so humble about it you would never know. These extraordinary people are the common folk in the boat. Welcome to Common Folk in the Boat. Eli Campbell here with you. We've got Dave Whitlinger from Billow Premium Cannabis joining us as always. How are you doing today?
Couldn't be better.
Couldn't be better, huh?
I mean, what's not to love? I'm hanging out with my buddy Eli.
Yeah, you know, I appreciate that. There are some times where people that do hang out with me always think that there could be something better, but...
They don't say that to your face, though, do they?
Well, no, I guess.
I usually wait till at least you're,
and I've walked away.
Oh, man.
Well, today we're going to be talking to someone who undoubtedly everyone in Steamboat has seen at work, has seen doing his job, but you may not know it.
I've seen him getting high.
Yes, you have, but not on the job, but literally, yes, on the job. Yes, you have. We're going to be talking to Bud Whitehead, pilot of the Wild West Balloon, who does get high for a living.
Way over my house.
Yes, exactly. Now, that leads us quite nicely as a segue into what Billow Premium Cannabis is high on this week, where we start every one of our podcasts talking about things that you're positive about right now.
Yeah, I would say, thank you. I would say right now, obviously, summer here in Steamboat, one of the things that we've got going on at Billow is this, I guess you call it promotion, called our Artist Series. And sort of, Eli, you and I have the same mindset in trying to figure out how to promote within the community and foster different creative stuff. The Artist Series that Billow is sponsoring, along with one of our partners, Wana, who makes an incredible edible. We are basically commissioning local artists to come up with unique pieces of art that we are then going to turn into printed pieces on a t-shirt that then we use as a giveaway for our customers. So it's sort of a roundabout way to get artwork from local artists out in the community as a wearable. So,
as you know, we're all about supporting and promoting our local creative minds, and there are so many artists in this town that you can pull from.
It's been wonderful. We put it out as a call for artists, just generally saying, hey, submit your artwork. We'll pay the winner to have the rights, and the amount of artists that have submitted already has been just incredible.
Obviously, you can get more information about that at mybillow.com. We'll be right back with Bud Whitehead. Welcome back to Common Folk in the Boat. Happy to be joined by Bud Whitehead of Wild West Balloons. How are you doing?
Real good. Happy to be here. Beautiful.
It is a beautiful day.
Sun is currently out at the moment.
At the moment, which you never know around here. But, yeah. Now, I was reading a little bit about you. You were at Arizona State, right? Studying resort management and tourism.
That's right.
Before you moved to Steamboat. Steamboat seems like a pretty good place to use that sort of schooling, that sort of degree. So what happened?
Well, I was at Arizona State. I was looking to get out of the heat of the summer, like to be outside and like to mountain bike. And being in Phoenix in July, trying to mountain bike, you're kind of up at 4 a.m. with a light on, trying to beat the heat. So anyway, I had my uncle Jeff Whitehead. He was a awesome guy. A lot of people know him in town. He was one of the big wigs for the old Steamboat resorts, and we'd been kind of chatting, and I had visited him in Steamboat a few times, and he's like, you should, if you're looking to get out of Phoenix for the summer, come to Steamboat, and you can probably get a job at a hotel. And I was in kind of the hospitality schooling, and so I said, yes, that sounds fun. A buddy and I, we came out here and got a job at the lodge at Steamboat. This was the summer in '99.
Yeah.
And came out the next summer, ended up doing an internship my last semester as college over at the Thunderhead Lodge, which has since been torn down. And then was kind of in the hotel biz for about 10 years. But I worked in the hotels, kind of decided I want to try something new, and got out of that game, and had seen the hot air balloon up and cold called the old owner of the biz, Ian Cox, who's a great guy. He's real kind to me, and we got along well and just got on his chase crew. And then one thing led to another, and started learning to flying the balloon in 2011, and then became the main pilot, and then ended up buying the biz with my wife in 2017. And
well, one of my first memories of knowing you was when I was getting married, 2010. Back then, you were a pedicab driver, and you took us away from our ceremony and rode us along the core trail back home.
He whisked you away.
Whisked me away, that's right. And so you must have always had some passion for transporting people on unique modes of transportation. Is that right?
Yeah, I guess so. I guess I never really thought of it like that, but I guess you're right. The pedicab was awesome. That was a lot of fun, and I totally remember I think we picked you up. Was it the Botanical Gardens?
It was the Cottonwood Grill. When there was the Cottonwood Grill where E3 is now.
And then I think you were staying up on the mountain
Somewhere
off
on the
of
mountain.
Whistler Road somewhere.
Man, he made you ride uphill.
Which normally it's downhill only, but it was a special day. It was a special day.
Yeah, at night, we made you work late.
Yeah, that was fun. I miss doing that. I have fun what I do now, but doing. I had a couple pedicabs. Me and my buddy Mark. They're still actually in town, Main Street Steamboat.
You might see them around. We should talk offline. I might want to chat with you about that.
Okay.
I'm looking to get in the pedicab business.
I think the way Yampa Street's going, I think it could be like a viable option more so when we were doing it. But I think there could be something there. So yeah, we'll talk later.
Perfect.
So did you always have a passion for flight? Did you ever, when you were a kid, did you want to be a pilot? Did you look at hot air balloons and think it was interesting, or is it just more when you were in that hotel industry and you're like, I need to make a change, so let's get as far away from what I'm doing as I can?
Yeah, I never had thought about being a pilot, flying. I mean, I occasionally saw the balloon in the sky and maybe landing in a weird spot and being like, oh, seems like a weird place to be. But it never crossed my mind wanting to fly a plane or a balloon or anything really. I always enjoyed as a kid, if I was flying, I would just try to get that window seat and I would just stare out the window the whole flight. And I loved just being up and, looking out at things as a kid. And then even when I started working for the biz originally, flying the balloon was not even a thought in my mind. I was just looking for some fun. I mean, that was still kind of bit back more in my ski bum days. I was just looking for a fun kind of part-time gig. And then when I was approached by the old owner if I wanted to learn how to fly, it was really the first time I'd thought about it.
We live in a cul-de-sac up in the mountain village area, and I can't tell you how many times I've seen you or your crew going down our street and landing literally a couple feet from our house, sort of thing. I probably have more photos in my phone of your balloon than you might even have. Who knows?
Yeah. Well, we used to land in that area quite a bit. Ian, the old boss, he'd kind of look at his clock, and then when it was 45 minutes, let's put her down wherever we are. Kind of seemed like that was a little bit his train of thought, but I'll try to work a little bit harder to kind of get off the streets if we can help it.
No, it's great. Trust me. It's I love it. It's more of a compliment than anything.
But I will get, people will text me some pictures. We'll be flying and I'll have some buddies just text me the pics they took that day. And it's always cool and hear about what I love is kind of hearing about the kiddos that just love the balloon and kind of they'll wake up in the morning. Kids and dogs might wake up in the morning and the first thing they do is to go to the window and see if we're up there. So that always makes me kind of feel good to hear that.
Well, and this valley has long been associated with hot air ballooning, right? You've got the old balloon rodeo. The ski area is still doing the night glows during the winter. And, I don't know how long Ian was running the balloon operation before you were, but as, my memories long include balloons in this valley. Why is this valley so conducive and ready for balloons to be flying?
Yeah, it's tricky flying, but we get kind of flying in the valley will kind of help mellow some winds out. But really, an old balloon guy once told me you need 3 things for a hot air balloon. You need people that want to go, you need the right winds, and you need places to land. And we kind of check all those boxes. Some of the landing areas we like to go are starting to get a little developed, but we'll always find somewhere to land. So, but the winds in the morning, I mean, you know how it is living here, especially in the summertime. Usually you get these nice mornings, and a lot of the weather will come in the afternoon. But we kind of get those nice, mellow, calm winds in the morning. And, it's good. It's a great spot to be flying a balloon.
Well, and I think, too, that brings up something that, I don't know how many, I think, people that live here know, but you might probably get a lot of tourists that don't realize that you can't steer that thing. It's based off of the winds. And I've had the pleasure of watching you with some of your very scientific methods of testing winds. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah. We have the speedometer, which I like to use. So when we're flying, and like you said, it's all up to the wind. I mean, we can control our altitude, so it's not like we're completely 100% at the mercy of the wind. So we can only go where the wind blows us, but we can control our altitude to find different winds. So that's kind of the key, or the recipe for success. There's being able to do that. But what the speedometer is, if you I'll be up in the balloon, and just like it sounds, I'll spit over the side, and we'll watch where that spit blows in the wind, and it is really accurate. I mean, I can tell you almost to what degree the wind's blowing at what speed. And the key is you want the right kind of spit consistency can help you out. You want it to kind of float, catch a little bit of wind. And then you really want to be able to watch. You want to watch that thing. So if you're up, 500, 1,000 feet up, and you're spitting, you really want to try to keep an eye on that.
So do you suck on like Jolly Ranchers or something to change that spit to like a purple or a sour apple color?
That's actually not a bad idea. I'll always bring some water with me to make sure I got some fuel in the tank.
Second, go ahead.
Well, I was just gonna say, because when you sometimes you'll get into a situation where, okay, the winds are shifting a little bit, anxiety level just up just a hair, and you really start wanting to spit to see what that wind's doing, but that's when that mouth might go a little bit dry. So that's why you need to make sure you got something to drink. And I used to drink coffee in there. We're trying not to drink quite as much coffee. That could maybe turn it a little easier color to see, but you always, right before I go up, I always put that fresh bottle of water on, make sure we can keep that spit rolling.
I mean, not to continue down this rabbit hole, but I've got to. Do you ever look down and maybe see a target, whether it's an object or perhaps a person? Not that you would do that.
I was just going to say, think over the next time the balloon's over.
I'm starting to rethink sitting out in my backyard watching you fly over. Maybe you're hawking loogies on me.
I have. So this is a true story, and this is a story I like to tell usually on the balloon. And I met a great local out of it, but I was flying one beautiful morning, and it was a beautiful summer morning. We flew a flight, landed, packed the balloon up, went back to our launch field, pour champagne, which we do for everybody as a tradition, and we tell them a little story, giving hugs to everybody. Great day, awesome day, and everybody's leaving. I'm going to the propane station to fuel my balloon. Had a voicemail, so I go to check my voicemail. And there was this guy leaving me a voicemail who was told I had to call him immediately. So I gave him a call and say, "Hey, this is Bud. How you doing?" And he's like, "Well, not good." And I'm like, "Well, why?" And he said, "Well, I was playing pickleball earlier at the pickleball courts. The balloon flew over, and some kid in your balloon spit on me twice." And
you hit him twice.
I mean, I'm telling you, I can lay that spit down well. So anyway, I was like, "Oh my gosh, are you still over there?" And he said, "I'm still here." So I'm like, "Don't move, I'm coming over. I'm gonna meet you." So I go over there and introduce myself, and give them a handshake and tell them, hey, I own the biz. I'm the pilot. It wasn't a kid that spit on you. I did it. I spit on you twice. I apologize. It's the speedometer. I'm just trying to.
Highly accurate device.
It's a great tool. It helps me fly a safe flight. I'm just trying to show people a view and land safe. I'm not trying to spit on the locals playing pickleball. So we had a good laugh, and I think I gave him a couple hats or a shirt for
I was gonna say you need to bring some like Dusky Grouse like gift cards or something to for anyone that happens to be a benefactor of your spitometer.
Yeah. So as far as I know, that's the only person that's ever called me out from being spit on. Now I would have. I've spit on the crew's been spit on a couple of times. I was spit on by my old boss a couple of times. Kind of part of the.
It's the initiation process.
That's right. That's right. But we've had some. We've had a few people get sick over the side, and we've had two very near misses with some innocent bystanders on the ground.
So if that were to happen, on the one hand, you want to help them and you want that, take care of them. But the other hand, you're probably observing that vomit and saying, well which direction is that actually headed? You're helping me out here.
Oh yeah, that's true. No, that's totally true. And if some people will get a little motion sickness. That's not really a thing. Some people might kind of get after it a little too hard the night before they're on vacation. Maybe their little legs are a little woozy under them. But yeah, we were, and I'll just tell people, hey, if you're gonna get sick, just go right out the side. That's fine. Like, don't worry about it. And then we were flying one time, and this little kid was about to kind of do her thing, and the mom looks at me, and I'm like, don't worry about it. Just kind of let her go right over the side. It's no big deal. No one on board's even going to know. It's just fine. Just don't worry about it. And we're flying the flight. I'm keeping an eye on the kid, and they start kind of going like if you have a cat, they start doing the.
Oh, we all have kids.
Yeah,
We've seen that
or
too.
a kid in and out. It's coming. So I'm like, just right over the side. Don't worry about it. But I had also been keeping my eye on a gal on the ground on the street pushing a baby stroller.
Oh, man.
And so at this point, I knew it, and we're flying fairly low. We were kind of coming into land, and I was like, "Wow, this might happen. A baby might get puked on my watch in this balloon. It might happen." So, and at this point, I'm not going to tell the kid not to be able to. It's just whatever happens, and it's just the way it's going to be. And so kid goes over the side. Full belly unload, and there was about 3 seconds of uncertainty, and then about 15 feet behind the stroller and the mom, there's a big splat. I don't even know if she really knew what was happening, but just another day.
Just another day.
Just another day. Yeah, I mean, well, I had the fortune of going up in a balloon with you last year around this time. It was my son's 10th birthday, and a real special thing that we did for him. And when I told him that I was going to be talking to you today, he wanted me to ask you, because he remembered you told a story about losing your own sunglasses over the side of the balloon, absentmindedly, like throwing them off. Mm-hmm. He was wondering, how many times do people lose, maybe not their lunch or their breakfast over the balloon, but how many times do they lose their phones and glasses and things like that?
Not often. I get the question all the time, but we don't lose a lot of stuff. We've only lost one phone. I've flown over 2,000 flights. Maybe 2,400 flights here in Steamboat. I lost one phone. That was shortly after launch. Screen was already cracked. Crew grabbed it, gave it to the passenger afterwards. Still worked. Everything was fine. I would say we've lost some gloves. That's a tough one in the winter. We'll fly when it's cold. And usually in the winter, the cold days are the nice days. I mean, a -20 morning usually means it's bluebird out, right? And it's beautiful. So those are the ones those are kind of a bummer. Let's say if it's -10 and you drop your gloves over the side, that's a buzzkill. But as far as I bet we've lost maybe 6 pair of sunglasses. 2 of them were mine. One, like you said, was one day I didn't have my croquis on, and I went to take my sunglasses off, thinking I had croquis on. I was up 2,000 feet and just threw them right over the side. I'm trying to think if we've a couple hats. Not many hats though. I had one of my crew members. We finally got him to go up. He's really Kevin. He's afraid of heights, and we finally got him to go up, and he lost his hat, which was kind of funny. But really, that's
when that's in the merchandise kicks in. Oh, by the way, we sell hats. We'll settle up at the bottom.
Exactly.
Well, I'm talking about your crew. I mean, can you talk a little bit about, I mean, I see these guys, they're chasing you all over, how instrumental they are to a safe flight, since you really, I mean, like you said, you can control your altitude and winds at different altitudes, but they're the ones that are really making sure that you're landing in safe zones and taking care of the passengers as you're coming down.
For sure. And I don't think my crew gets enough credit. How we fly in town, there's kind of every different areas. There's balloons, there's different strategies of what you're trying to do. We usually try to keep things pretty tight in the valley, really trying to pinpoint these landing spots. And the crew they're super helpful and really open up so many more landing spots than if we didn't have them. We can drop if we're close to some spots, but maybe we have some trees or a fence or something like that. We got a couple drop lines we can drop down, and they can help pull us in. They can help slow us down a little bit. And also we need to logistically, we need to kind of be close to where we can drive our vehicles to get we end up packing the balloon up and putting it in the back of a flatbed pickup truck. Our passengers get a ride back in a van. So we kind of need to be close to our vehicles. And so with the crew, also we can land maybe not necessarily right where we can take the balloon down, but then they can really do the hard work and kind of walk the balloon as the balloon's upright with our passengers in it. They'll kind of get us to the location that maybe we just can't quite get to on flying the balloon, but then they can pull us and get us to the spot we need to be. And I mean, that balloon is just a big sail, and if there's even a 1 or 2 mile an hour wind and they're kind of going a little bit against the wind, it's really hard work. And I have a lot of respect for the crew, and I started off crewing, and I know how hard and challenging and strenuous it can be, and they keep coming back for more. So hats off to my crew. They're awesome.
Well, and I think, we talked a little bit about it. It's a balloon that is powered by winds. Your crew is really out there helping you. I think when I went up with you, there's so much I learned about just, you're a licensed pilot. You have to log your flights. What are some of the things that you think are some of the biggest misunderstandings about hot air balloon flights and what you're actually doing out there?
Well, I think ballooning, I guess the main thing would be kind of the safety factor. Like a lot of people think it's this dangerous thing, and you look at the numbers, and it's the safest form of air travel. You're much more likely to get hurt, or something bad to happen on an airplane or a helicopter. But a YouTube video goes a long way into kind of putting the fear in somebody. But I guess people just don't really understand how it works of the steering. I guess of people will think maybe we have a steering wheel and a brake pedal and some thrusters and I just kind of rudder, plug in the coordinates of where I want to go.
Portable fan.
Yeah. Now there is a balloon that has a little fan on it called a Cinebule. They'll use, but it doesn't really work that well. But I just think people don't necessarily have a misunderstanding. They just don't necessarily understand about how there's all sorts of different wind currents, wind directions, and they're changing constantly. So I just don't know if people really even understand it all. Not that there's a misunderstanding of just how it works and just what we're doing, going up and down, riding the different winds, communicating with the crew, getting different real-time wind information of what's happening on the ground and at some different weather stations, and we'll check in at some wind stations on the ski area and see what the winds are doing up there.
Well, and I think to that point, though, you've pulled off one of the things that I think is the most only in Steamboat type of things, where you helped Ed Briones ski Sleeping Giant by hot air balloon. I mean, there's one thing to heli ski to the top of it, but you're flying on a hot air balloon without the steering like we've talked about. How are you able to even pull that off? Tell me the story behind that.
Yeah, that was awesome. That is a great memory, and that was like one of my favorite days of flying. I was also earlier on in my flying career and was just super excited to be able to get to do anything like that. And I was approached. Ed's a good friend of mine. I love Eddie B. And there was 3 guys on board, and one of the guys' dads had done this in the 70s, got dropped off via balloon. So I had heard that, but up until then I'd never know much about it or who did it. I kind of thought maybe it was my old boss that did it, and then I asked him, "Hey, were you the one that dropped the guys off?" He's like, "I never did that." And so anyway, we were recreating this this event that had happened in the 70s, and so we're on board, and so Ed asked me to do it, and I didn't own the biz then, I didn't even own a balloon, so I had to ask Ian. I'm like, "Hey Ian, we want to take your balloon and take my buddies and drop them off on the top of this mountain," and he was like, "Cool, do it." Okay, we're doing this. So we went and me and a couple buddies went and scouted some different launch options. So we launched from over there in the area. We did it in the springtime, so the skiing would be wouldn't have to worry about avalanches or anything like that. But there was still quite a bit of snow around, and so we'd kind of scope some potential landing or launch options over there, and then it was the day to do it. So we went, and it was windier that morning than the days we went and scouted a course. So like we didn't really choose any of the landing or the launch areas we scouted. We went to this kind of different area, and we mounted some GoPros and things, and everybody's just super pumped. A beautiful morning, and we go up. So we go up, we launch the balloon, and had a couple chase vehicles. They kind of fan out. I don't know where I'm going to end up, or if we're even going to be able to do it, right, to land on the Giant. So we're spending the first 20 minutes low, kind of trying to find some lower winds to take us up there, and we're not getting anything. So it's like, all right, we got to get up. We got to get up real high. So we shoot on up, and we get maybe 5,000 feet above the ground, which is a lot of altitude for us. Normally on a flight here in town, we're maybe getting to 2,000 above the ground, maybe 3,000 above the ground would be getting pretty high for us. We're up at 5,000, and we're getting this wind, and it's going in the right way. But we're well above the Giant now. I mean, I don't know how high the Giant is. Maybe it peaks out at maybe 2,000 feet up above ground level. I'm not sure what the peak is. So we're 3,000 feet above the Giant now, and then so flying the balloon again, it's a little bit. You're kind of making some estimations about, okay, we're up here at 5,000 feet above the ground. We're going 20 miles an hour, kind of towards the Giant. We're over the Giant now, but now we got to get down,
descending,
and when we get there, we got to be on top of it to drop these guys off, right? But anyway, so we're way up there. And then I'm telling, or even maybe a little bit before that, I was telling these guys about the speedometer. And I'm like, guys, we really need this wind to the east. And you'd never seen so much spit coming off the balloon. Everyone spit. So I just remember at this point, like, there's so much spit coming out of this balloon because these guys this might be our only shot. So we really want to do it. And so we get up there real high, and everyone's spitting out. We get the wind. And then, all right, everything's looking good, but now we got to get down to the Giant, and we're not really sure what that wind right on the top of it's going to be doing. So we dive bomb down, and it's just silent. Everyone, this is go time now. We're going to descend for maybe 2 minutes we're going down at 800-900 feet a minute, going down, and we're kind of seeing we're above the Giant, but we're kind of seeing us slowly go toward kind of off his like left side a little bit, and we get just to right above the ground, and we're right at the edge. I mean, we're 5 feet above the giant, almost going to land, and the wind just takes us off. And so now we've missed it, and we're 30 feet to the outside, like the left shin or the left knee of the giant. And we just wait. And then the wind just starts bringing us back. And so we come back, and then now we've nailed it. So everybody's super stoked. We've nailed it. And then we're just cruising. So we get right about, and I'm right above the treetops up there. And I've hiked up there in the summer. It's really cool. If you've never been up there, have you been up there?
Yeah.
You've been up on the top of the giant? It's awesome. You can go up the head. It's public access hiking up. It's really cool. Watch out for snakes. Yeah. Really beautiful up there. And then we're just above the highest tree or bush, just in case the wind shifts, we can land. And we get right about to like the belly button, and then the wind starts shifting away again to where we want to go. So we just land, drop these guys off. We give each other some hugs. So they had they had their, the AT or tele hike setups with them, so they could hike. I gave maybe a 10-minute hike to the knees. So then they were at the knees. I relaunched, and it was like, all right, boys, let's meet up later. I don't know where I'm going to end up. Hopefully your ski run is awesome, and we'll meet up later and kind of exchange some stories. And then big hugs. There's a picture. I got to find it. If I do, maybe I'll send it to you, of us smiling at the top of the giant. There, everybody's out with their skis, and I'm about to relaunch. And then I go up and landed a couple miles away. Easy landing. They had an epic ski down, and it was an awesome day.
Yeah. I mean, it's obviously one of the more memorable experiences for you. You know, when I was up there, I think for everybody, it's such a memorable thing. And for locals, I don't know how many locals you typically take, but for someone like me, I've been here for 25 years, and getting a different perspective of our valley, it's so unique. And the day that we went, you were able to take us up real high. I remember we were above Storm Peak. We could look out. You could see Rocky Mountain National to Wyoming, down to the flat tops. We saw on the ground mother moose kind of walking a baby through the river, lots of wildlife. It's a whole different perspective from, that many thousands of feet above, and not just like on a plane where you're going past it. And I think it's something special that when do you find when locals go, like it's something that they kind of thought, well, that's just a touristy thing to do, and then they do it, and they're like, oh, this is really amazing.
Yeah, I love flying the balloon. I love taking people up there. I love taking the locals up there, especially the locals that have been around. Yeah. That has seen us flying, seen us in some random spots, and just of like, and they're like, you know what? I've seen this balloon for 20 years, and I'm finally taking my turn on it. So those days are a treat for me. And then I really want to be able to show those guys that if I'm taking the locals up, I mean, I'm always trying to show people a good time, but like I'll really, really try to hopefully fly a fun flight, and seeing them, like when you guys went up,
dip them into the river,
do a splash and dash. I don't know if we splashed and dashed on yours.
I don't think we did on that one, but we definitely had a really good flight. And this funny story from our flight was we were with a couple who had driven up from Colorado Springs that night because she was looking for things to do in the springs or something, and somehow hot air balloon and Steamboat came up, and she didn't realize it wasn't in Colorado Springs. So they'd driven all the way up here, and I think we were talking to them saying, wow, they drove through the night, and they said after the flight, like, this was 100% worth. It was our mistake, but 100% worth driving all the way up here for it. And the stories that you tell on the balloon, and then the ground ceremony that you do, it's a whole experience beyond just the flight itself.
Yeah, and I mean, it's a beautiful valley. I mean, the valley kind of speaks for itself, really. I mean, we have a beautiful launch location. We're right next to the river. And really, no matter what time of year, there's just something to. It's beautiful year round. I mean, you got the snow in the winter. You'd have right now is kind of my favorite time. People ask me over the years, what's your favorite time to fly? And I never really, I was just like, yeah, I just kind of want a soft landing. I don't mind the season, but really like this next few weeks here, when the valley's greening up, still a little bit of snow on the peaks, but the animals come out. So I really think like we try to do a good job to show people a good time here. But I think just this beautiful valley just kind of speaks for itself and is just kind of a wow factor. I mean, you get up and like you said, it kind of just gave you a different perspective. And I mean, being at the top of the quarry or, going up the Gandhi, or being at the top of the ski area, you get those views, but being right in the middle of it, and being above the river and it just changes the perspective. It's beautiful.
Yeah. Well, now after having done, the ski by balloon and all the different flights that you do, 2,000 flights now, is there anything that you're looking for next? Like, what's the next little challenge for you?
I'm glad you asked because I was going to ask. Like, come on, are you taking this thing, see if you can get up to Wyoming?
Yeah, that's actually kind of what...
Packing nights for this
Yeah,
stuff? What are we
Well,
doing?
there's a couple things that I would like to do. One, I think I'll do is my wife and I really want to, my wife Stacia, who's a co-owner of the biz with me and actually is the reason why we're a business. I fly and tell the same jokes every day and tell the same story after the flight, and she does all the behind the scenes work. So give credit to where credit's due. So thanks Stacia for making our biz a real biz. But her and I want to fly, and she's open to get her pilot license as well. But they used to do some of the old balloonists that used to be here. They would sometimes offer commercial flights, and they would just fly into Walden over the Continental Divide. So that's something I've never done, and her and I talked about doing that. So that's something I would like to do. That's probably like the next thing is if we're going to do something fun in the balloon that's not typical passenger flight. But another thing that I would like to do, which I've heard some balloonists doing, is balloon camping.
Like bike packing, but balloon packing.
So you bring your camping gear, and you need to bring a fan, like an inflation fan, so to get the balloon ready to fly on just a normal flight. You have your inflate. You'd bring your balloon in to your launch location, stretch it out, have the basket tipped over, turn on your big gasoline-powered inflation fans, fill the balloon with some cold air till it's kind of inflated sideways, laying down on the ground. Turn your burners on, put your heat into it, stand it up, and then you're going to be getting close to ready to fly. So balloon camping, get your camping gear, your cooler, somehow bring one of your inflation fans with you, go up, and then go out into the woods somewhere, put her down in a...
I can only imagine...
Speaking my language.
Yeah, I can only imagine backpacking 10 miles into the Zircles to get away from everything, and all of a sudden the balloon comes down.
It's your best day. It's that hiker's, camper's worst day. It's like, what? I just tried to get away from all
so before COVID, we would fly for the Vista Verde Ranch. Real beautiful up there. Vista Verde Ranch is a freaking awesome place up there, and great people. And we would fly. So the Vista Verde Ranch is up near Clark off of Seed House Road. They have a couple 100 acres, and we used to fly these flights where, if you're familiar with Seed House Road, you'd go past Vista Verde, their ranch on your left, the road will become dirt, and then maybe a quarter of a mile after the road becomes dirt, there's a forest road, and right there on the left we used to go there on Thursdays in the summertime. We'd set the balloon up. Vista Verde would come in with their passengers from the ranch. We'd get on the balloon. We'd go up, and then the idea was to land on the Vista Verde property. We did that most of the time, but sometimes we would. Occasionally, where we would set up, people would be camping, like right next to the balloon, or there's also it's either Hinman Campground. I don't know. Maybe that's the one that's kind of across from the ranch. But anyway, we would fly right over these campgrounds. I'd be getting in low trying to land, and it'd be early, 7:30 in the morning. People would come out of their tent, and I mean, 20 feet above them is this
Yeah.
giant balloon.
And those propane burners aren't quiet.
They'll make a little bit of noise.
Yeah.
But anyway, balloon camping is like a dream to just kind of, who knows where we're going to end up, just some field out in the woods. And hopefully we wouldn't have any problems reinflating to get out of there. And then we wouldn't know where we would be going anyway. Because we probably wouldn't come back here. We would just
try to find a road.
Try to find a road, and then you'd need to coordinate kind of with your crew, But anyway, that kind of sounds kind of fun. Do that.
It's a pleasure talking to you. Stories are amazing from everything that you've done, and like I said, I mean, I've known you for years as the guy that I go to for unique transportation, and so I hope that more locals will take the opportunity to get on a balloon with you. We started off by saying that undoubtedly every local in this town has seen you do your job, but they maybe didn't know the person behind it. So it's a pleasure to kind of introduce you as one of the common folk of the boat.
Awesome, man.